Welcome to the ABCs of weight loss. I'm Deanna. I'm going to adventure you to lose over 100 pounds, and I'm going to be your host for tonight's show, the ABCs of weight loss. Tonight, we're talking about words that start with the letter D. So, as we get started here, please feel free to type in the chat box what word or words that start with the letter D do you think that we may or may not be talking about tonight? And while you guys are all saying hello to one another, chatting, typing in your guesses for words that start with the letter D, and it's not Deanna, we're not just going to talk about me, although I'll probably talk about me a whole bunch because, it's what I like to do. But no, we're going to talk about other words that start with the letter D. Hello, Mary. Hello, Michelle. Hello, Charlotte. Hello, Misty. Hello, everyone that comes on in. Even if you're watching the replay, hello and welcome. But before we get to all of that fun stuff, I want to bring on our special guest for the week, which is Becki from My Starf Live. She is one of my favorite people, one of my longest supporters on my YouTube channel. We have been probably supporting each other for a very, very long time, probably like 2 years or more. If you don't follow her, you should be. I'll try and link her channel in the below, but I want to go ahead and bring her on so that everyone can say welcome to Becki. Hello,
good evening,
Becki.
everyone.
How are you?
I am doing all right tonight.
All right. Not delightful?
Wait a minute. Oh man, you got a good one right there. Like,
doubtful, disastrously.
I'm thinking of a D word, but it's nothing.
You can't say it.
I can say it, but it has nothing. It doesn't describe anything. It's somebody's last name.
Gotcha.
But it's a word that may motivate you to reach your goals, lose weight. It was a word that inspired me, but I will say that. I'll say that.
It was a word that inspired you. Okay. So let's we've got some guesses. We've got discipline. D is for Deanna. We got diet. I'm never going to talk about the word diet because unless it's in the mindset of I'm on a diet, because the mindset of being on a diet, we might talk about that at some point in time. Ooh, doubt. That's a good one. But we're not going to talk about specific diets and how to follow a diet, but we might talk about the mentality of the word diet.
Yeah, I was going to say in the context that the word diet is used, it can be good or bad.
Yes. Mm-hmm. How do you think that it could be good, the word diet in context?
I think when you're talking about like your diet and what you're putting in your body, not a diet that you're following to lose weight, but like your diet, like in general, what you're feeding, what you're feeding your mind, your body,
got it.
Everything is a diet. And I think it's just a very misused word.
It is.
So yeah, in that context, diet really isn't a bad word, but
disaster, which is where my journey is at the moment. I can feel that. Ooh, doable. Love that word. Okay. Oh my God, good one. Difficult. Also good. We're hoping. Misty says, I was hoping I'd get a mini diet rant. Ooh, you guys are coming up with darn good words. Oh, but really, I'm curious. What was the word that you were thinking of, Becki?
I was thinking it's me, right? Disney.
Disney
is a good motivating word.
Why didn't I think
of that?
You want
to look good for Disney.
Disney. Yes,
yeah.
Because you want to look good for Disney. You want to be able to fit in the rides for Disney. You got to drop, 20 pounds before you go to Disney, so you don't have to worry about, eating. Although I don't think you really do because you walk so darn much. Like
it balances out. I think it did that last time for me between the eating and the walking. We're good.
Charlotte said dynamite, and I want to say it in that. You guys know how I want to say it, right? Like that TV person from a show, from the 70s or I don't know. Anyway, suck at this. Disney. Oh
I'm
my.
trying to think they hear talk about.
Mm. Oh my God. These are such good words. Oh my God. So many of them I didn't even think about. I'm so impressed by you guys just showing
Mhm.
up with your words and all these like really, 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 really good words. I'm trying to highlight them just in case I want to come back to any um later on. I just like to come through here and just like go
Mm.
through. But I kind of had like this like journey that I kind of wanted to kind of go on with the words tonight. And I wanted to talk about decision. The word
Mhm.
decision was a word that nobody put in the word decision, but I think that decision has a big thing to do in regards to weight loss. So we all woke up one day. If you're on my channel, you probably at one point in time thought about losing weight. If you didn't, I don't really know why you're watching my channel, but I'd be really curious to know why. But maybe you just like to
They
watch
could have
people.
been watching, I don't know, some dance video, and then it could have renavigated to you. It happens. You end up watching elephant videos at 2 a.m.
It's true.
So
Definitely
so
true. But you make a decision, don't you? Do you remember whenever you
Mhm.
made your decision to lose weight?
Yeah, about like 100 times. Now, but
You're like, which time are you talking about?
which yeah, which
Smiley
year?
faces in the chat if you relate to that. Like, I didn't just make
Mhm.
one decision. I've made 1,000 decisions, and sometimes it's like you have to wake up every single day and
Mhm.
make that decision. And some days you don't. Some days you decide, not, no, I'm not going to do it today. Not having it, not playing it, whatever. But normally it all starts with like with a decision. And that's the thing that I really do think. And I was thinking about it a lot today because I'm watching Married at First Sight. So,
I used to watch that.
so like these people decide to get married without even seeing somebody. I'm like, wow. But sometimes, you know, we just take that kind of leap
Mhm.
of faith and we make a decision like this is the time I'm gonna do it. We're gonna do it, and then every day we just have to recommit to that decision. So I think that there's a lot of difference between, you know, the decision that we make. Sometimes we kind of make it and we're like, it's a half in decision, and other times it's like an
Mhm.
all in decision. Especially like, okay, so if you've got an event coming up, you're going to go to
Mhm.
Disney or something like
Mhm.
that, you're like, you've really decided, okay, I've got to do this. I'm going to do it, blah, 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 blah,
Mhm.
blah. And it's like, it's really easy, especially whenever it's like a time based thing, because it's like, okay, I know how long that
Mhm.
I'm making this decision for. And then other times the decision is like a little bit different because whenever I decided this time, I'm like, okay, this is like whatever I'm doing, I'm figuring out how to do this for my life. This is not like a short term weight loss. This is not a get quick, get thin quick or
Mhm.
anything. This is like, I'm figuring out how to live my life in the best me possible. So the decision was a little bit different this time. So many people, welcome, welcome. Hi, Tia. Hello, Natasha. She can't see all the things, so she's saying hello to
Yeah,
everybody.
I'm seeing, but like I can't when I can't keep up. Like I can't look this way and talk this way.
It's so hard, isn't it?
Yes, I don't have that capability. But hello, everyone.
So decision. I think we can all kind of remember the time when we decided we're like, okay, well, I'm ready to do this.
Mhm.
But the next thing we got to do is, you know, like anytime if we're gonna go to Disney, we decide we're gonna go to
Mhm.
Disney. If we're gonna lose weight, we decide, you know, we're gonna lose weight. The next thing that we need a direction. We need a direction to go. How are we going to get there? So everybody can make their own decision, you know, about what direction they want to go and how they want to get there. If you want to, you know, fly, if you want to drive, if you
Mhm.
want to do, you know, low carb, if you want to do keto, if you want to do whole 30, if you want to do complete
Mhm.
elimination diet, like there's all kinds of different ways to go. But we find a direction, a way that we want to go. Becki, what was your kind of methodology? I can't always remember everybody because everybody's so different. What method were you using to lose weight?
I pretty much count calories.
Count
Like
calories.
like and I mean, with that said, like there are certain things I should eat more of and less of. But my main just keep me kind of like straight, just so I know how much I've eaten during the day, whether it's lots of sugars and like all that, like fats and all, like anything that's like of a high count.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I basically just count the calories just to make sure I'm not eating too much.
Yep.
Period.
So
Even
you're kind
though
of like count
nutrition,
calories, but a focus on like more of the more whole natural foods, less processed foods.
I try.
You
Like
try.
I kind of, I want to say I must have the mentality. I think it's the I don't know. I don't want to say it like, but South, is it South Beach, where it's like anything like like that's from the earth. Is that diet, or is that another one? I'm completely,
It's more. I think it's more like Whole 30. It's more like
maybe it is Whole 30.
South
Like,
Beach is kind of more Atkins keto-y,
okay, then maybe I'm thinking of the basis in my head is
but
if I'm
not that
eating
I'm a professional
something,
and know all the diets because I
it's
don't.
like a fruit, yeah, a fruit, a vegetable, something that's not like, yeah. I don't know what that diet is, but somebody explain
Mediterranean,
whatever. Oh, and I said diet. Maybe it's Mediterranean. Maybe it
maybe
is. Um,
waiting
it
for
was
somebody to put
explained to
it.
me, and I'm like, okay, you're not eating too much of this. It's been like processed. It's like it's okay to have milk because milk comes from nature,
Yep,
as opposed to soda that does not come from nature.
yep.
Not that I don't sip soda, but I've done a good job with it actually. I don't drink soda like I used to. I pretty much, that is a habit that's stuck, where I mostly drink water throughout, like whether I gain, loss, whatever.
Anytime I drink a soda anymore, it's like such a treat. It's just like,
Mm.
oh, soda. Even if it's a diet soda, it's
I
like
think it's the bubbles. Does
soda.
it's like the fizz is like, that's what it is.
Yeah, because I don't drink sparkling water either. I just drink regular, boring
Hmm.
water. So we've got our direction. So we made a decision. We've got our direction that we're going to go. We chose our diet
Hmm.
that we're going to go on, what eating plan that we're going to use
Hmm.
for people that are anti the word diet, because,
Yeah.
the foods that we're going to consume in order to help us lose weight. And the next word I want to talk about is my favorite word, is distraction.
Mm.
My favorite word is distraction. So has anybody ever got, distracted on their weight loss, um, plan? Anybody? Wave your hands, put smiley faces in the comments if you've ever been distracted while you're trying to lose weight. And I know for a lot of people that get distracted, it's so easy to get distracted. Okay, so vacation comes along.
Mm.
Vacation can be a distraction. And sometimes you get so distracted, you're doing really good. And then, like the week before you're about to leave, you can get distracted
Yeah.
by vacation because you're running around. You got errands you got to do. You got to worry about all these different things. And you get so distracted that you totally forget about, your eating plan or how you want to do and your exercise and your daily habits and your routines. And everything's all, just jumbled a mess. And then when you get back, then you're distracted from, just getting back into your daily flow, your daily routine. You've got, all of these different things going on. And then sometimes that distraction kind of derails you. Another
Mhm.
D word that I didn't even write down to talk about.
That's it.
Derails.
There are so many D words, and I've only thought honestly of two besides this. Like, and I don't know, like hello, and it just.
They just seem to flow. Like once you get into the groove of it, it's like, oh, look, there's another one.
Mhm. Like
There's
I got
another
an
one.
easy letter here, and
And then you're like
yours, like.
sitting there and you're trying to think of like words that start with the letter, and you're like, I can't think of two. I can't think
Hmm.
of two more words. Like my dog. No, that's not like
Hmm.
it's so, it's so funny. Like Misty used to think that she was hard at finding the words, but she's really good at it. She's getting so much better at it. So yeah, so it can derail us. So it's nice to think about these distractions that are going to happen before they happen so that we can kind of prepare ourselves. And then if you are on a person like me who's been, losing weight for multiple years because they had so much to lose or they're a slow loser or they get distracted a lot, whatever it is, it's nice to take stock and to think what distractions are coming up to keep me from, me either maintaining my weight or from losing additional weight. So, Becki, I don't know. Do you have any distractions coming up in your life?
My whole life's a distraction in general. And I'm not even talking about 2023. I get easily distracted. I said before the live started, I have I have ADD. I have a distraction disorder where over here, a bunny, squirrel, woo. I'm that thing that you see on those pictures you see on Facebook. That's me. So I easily get like this is happening. Or you were talking about coming home from vacation. Well, you know what? I came home from vacation. There's no food in the refrigerator. I haven't gone shopping. It's easy for me to get distracted and like have takeout 5 nights in a row instead of the one night until I go shopping the next day, and then it bubbles from there. But yeah, distractions. I got a lot of it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm very on the go. I don't know how, but I'm on the go a lot. I have this going on, this appointment, that appointment. I have a lot of planning, a lot of wedding
Mm-hmm.
planning that and then like there's this event, that event, the girls come over to do makeup. Oh, here we go, we're ordering out again. And then I just had my tasting this last weekend. So I wasn't not gonna eat
Right.
everything. It's easy. And then the last couple days after that, I didn't prepare food because it was Sunday when I had the tasting. So now I'm on my, what is it, it's Wednesday night now. Oh, and I had my anniversary this week, so I had tasting, anniversary, eating out, eating out. Tuesday, oh, I didn't have anything to eat. I made something real quick and unhealthy. And then tonight I was good, but it's distracting. Then I have other trips coming up where I'm going away to see family. I have a honeymoon. I'm pretty sure that there'll be a lot of distractions and lots of foods and lots of different ways, that I might not keep up with my regular exercise routine, when I'm
Mhm.
away and stuff like that. So
And I
really
think that's true for all of us. We all get
Mhm.
there's so many distractions out there. And that's why we need to go back to our directions and think about how do we
Mhm.
include those distractions into our directions. So if I'm like, I live in Missouri, so if I'm like leaving, and I go down like 55, there's like a stop and I can go see Superman, the Homo Superman. So that's a distraction. So if I'm going on a road trip, I might be like, oh, but we got to go see Superman. You
I was
know,
gonna say distractions are fun.
they're
You
fun.
have to go see Superman.
But now I'm going to be late because we went to go see Superman and it took me 30
Mhm.
minutes to figure out the right pose next to Superman. And I took 20
Mhm.
pictures without my camera even being on. So now and then I got to charge it. And then we stopped for lunch.
Mhm.
But we got to plan for these distractions. So it's nice to look ahead and think to ourselves, what distractions are going to be there? What can I plan? So either, number one, we learn the skills to be eating out experts is one way that we can do it. We just learn, what are my favorite places to eat? What are my go-to orders? What are the things that I know that I can eat there all the time with, no worries? We become eating out masters. We become, planners. We just learn. And some of these things, a lot of these things, unfortunately, we learn through doing. So when you go on vacation and you come back and okay, well, this is what happened the week before. I got distracted by vacation. So I know the next time I go on a vacation that I'm going to need to make sure that I plan my food more properly. I need to gonna budget my time better because I didn't do a good job at budgeting my time. I know that whenever I get back, I need to have that like food order already programmed so that I can just say, hey, Walmart, deliver my food or wherever you go shop, or do that first. Say, like, you make a rule, like, the first thing I'm going to do is go to the grocery store, whatever it is, so that you don't let it go longer than what you originally planned. But we put that into the directions. So we decide where we're going, we put it into the directions. We've got a plan so that, you know, we know that those distractions are going to come up. We learn that those distractions are going to come up. You know what? There's going to be distractions that, are new. and that's okay. But sometimes we know that there's going to be distractions, but we can plan for those distractions. So this
Mm-hmm.
coming up, we've got, the summertime, we've got the normal things that are going to come up this summer. So we
Mm-hmm.
know, you've got the 4th of July, you've got Memorial Day, you've got the kids being at home or whatever it is.
Mm-hmm.
Plan for what those distractions are and think about, how can I get ready for those
Mm-hmm.
distractions? Because
Yeah. I was gonna say every holiday is like a distract. I'm doing good on my plan until Thanksgiving comes around, and Christmas comes around, and my birthday, and you know what I mean. And well,
it
guess what?
every single
They're
time,
every month. It's every month, every week. Some for people, there's something there.
it's always something.
Yeah. So we should be prepared, knowing that they always happen. They're always there.
And yet I'm the person that's like at the store, like buying the cards like 3 days before, saying, "Oh, I hope this gets to you in time," because oh my god, I had no idea, because I'm just terrible.
You knew they've had a birth unless you're only Facebook friends and it tells you that day, or sometimes it doesn't even tell you
Exactly.
that day anymore. Okay, that's happened to me. Sorry if I missed your birthday, but
Oh,
you know it's coming up. And then oh wait, or if like even with money, you don't know like that uh, with like buying a gift. Well, you knew your anniversary was coming up 3 months ago, and it's the day before. How are you not prepared? So I think you can use that mindset with anything.
mm. I love what Tia is. One of
Mhm.
my she works out with us on the Fit Squad, and she
Okay.
has this awesome podcast. I just started listening to it, but she has this really good podcast. I'm gonna have to look it up and tell you guys what it is. But really good podcast, and she talks about habits, and it's like, if you guys know, I'm like
Mhm.
excited about habits, like some kind of weirdo. But so she her comment here: I get distracted by all the shiny objects. Hard to stay consistent when the next best way to lose weight is always in your feed, and that
Mhm.
is so true. And it's like it's one of those comparison things. You always think, oh God, look at them, they're losing
Mhm.
weight so great on what they're doing. But a lot of the times there's not that much of a difference. And you got to think, what have you tried in the past before? What really worked for you? And it's one
Mhm.
of those things you got to remember to just stay in my own lane, just stay in my own lane. I know what works for me. I know how to do it. I know
Mhm.
it'll work. And it's so hard to not do that. And a lot of times, whenever the diet isn't working, there's a D word, the diet word,
Mm.
we want to blame the diet. We want to say that it's the diet's fault that we're not losing weight.
Mhm.
So many times we're going to blame the diet. When if we looked at it, if we put everything that we're doing down on paper, we really looked at it,
Mhm.
it's not the diet
Mhm.
that is failing us. It's those little bites, licks, and tastes, those little extra things that we're adding in. It's
Mhm.
the how we kind of twist the rules a little bit here, twist the rules a little bit there, and just
Mhm.
add in a little bit there. It's never the diet that is doing the thing. All the diets, they all work
Mhm.
when you're doing them.
Mhm.
It's finding the one that works really well for you and adhering to it. I know that some people work exceptionally well on other diets
Mhm.
versus, other diets. And that is true that some people's body will be more receptive to certain ways of eating. So I'm not saying
Mhm.
that that's not true at all. I don't want to get that misconstrued, but
Yeah.
I think that we need to choose what we find works really good. Thank you, Mary Misty, for sharing Tia's podcast. I appreciate that. But yeah, that's all I wanted to say there. Ooh, look at that word, diligence.
Mhm.
So all of these different distractions. So type in the chat, everybody type in the chat. What distraction is going to come up in the next 3 months for you? And then I want you to think about a little bit later in, tonight, whenever we get off here, about that distraction and what can you include in your directions to make sure that that is less distracting to you. Like it's going to happen, but how can we plan for that? How can we include it in our directions? So for me, Easter is coming up. The directions that I put out to myself is I don't buy the Easter candy a week ahead of time. I buy it 2 days before because I don't need to buy a bunch of Easter candy. I have two nieces and nephews. Two. Like,
Mhm.
I don't need to buy a bunch of candy and I don't need to get a big old supply and have it here for a week because
Mhm.
that's just going to lead to, maybe, sneaking extra candy that I don't really necessarily want that isn't in my plan. It's going to be distracting to me. Or maybe if I do buy it, I hide it away or I don't need to see it. So it's not distracting me every time I walk through the room type
Mhm.
things.
Yeah, I try not to buy stuff at all because usually just with my work or family, somebody gives it to me anyway. So I don't need to buy it. Somebody's gonna and it's gonna land on my doorstep anyway, and then I'm not gonna let it sit there either. But there we go. Like I said, Easter comes along. Something comes along, and we really have to have that plan in place.
So Cadbury mini eggs, it's like the only time that they sell
Yeah.
them is at Easter. And that's
Mhm.
like one of my favorite candies. But we
Mhm.
just had some that we had in the pantry for 2 years that we finally finished.
Wow. That's that's
I mean, that's a victory. Like
that's that's not me.
that
That's
that is that is I'm the person, I'm the weirdo out there that can eat two mini eggs and be like, that was really good. I'm good with that.
yeah.
But potato chips, it's a whole different thing.
Yeah, I
It's
think everybody has
sugar.
their that food and
Yep.
mine is like I can't just have one McFlurry. I gotta have five. I got you know what I mean? Or like not five, but like if I have one I mean I've gotten better, but it used to be if I get one during the week, I want one the next night. And then the next
Hmm.
I have gotten better, but it's like that the like the sweet sugar
Yeah, a
that
lot of people
just
just like they just
from like candy like that, I'll spiral.
yep.
So
So many people are
I'm at
like
the
that.
spot where
And that's
I
just
can
something
buy
you
it.
know. You just know about
Mhm,
yourself and then you say, okay,
mhm,
well, I got to be really, and that's going to take us to this next word, discipline. We're
mhm.
going to have a little bit of discipline with it. And I don't always like the word discipline because I feel like it has a negative connotation to it.
Yeah,
So it's like, but it's just, and also on the other hand, I also feel like it doesn't because whenever I say it in those words, I just have to be disciplined to not to be like, okay, well, I'm just going to have sugar on these occasions. That's the only time because
mhm,
to know myself well enough to know that that's going to lead me to a spiral. Do I want to spiral? So it's not a bad thing to have discipline when I think about it in that kind of a way.
yeah. And I think that's the hardest part with weight loss is having the right discipline. If you're disciplined, then you're good, and it doesn't matter what. I don't want to say the other D word, but if you're like,
I like
no
all
matter
the
what diet
demons.
you're doing, yeah, if you're disciplined to follow that plan, it doesn't work when you stop doing whatever you were doing for the most part. And I know, like you had said, that like different people's bodies respond differently to, different lifestyles and ways of eating. But if you do anything where you're like switching around your nutrients or cutting that or cutting that, it it's gonna work. But you if, if people say, "Oh, well, why did I gain all this back?" Well, you
Mm,
stopped what you were doing. And like for me, like I stopped doing what I was doing. I stopped like eating better and I stopped, making sure I was eating the right amount for the day and I lost my discipline and then
mm-hmm,
it happened again. But when I was disciplined about 6 months ago and I was like, nope, this is the amount you're supposed to eat each day, Becki, guess what? Came off. So discipline
exactly.
for me is a big one. And it's so hard because it's so easy to go back and to not be disciplined. So I
Mm-hmm.
think that's like out of every word I think tonight, I think that's for me the biggest one,
And
really.
Misty, she said in the comments, she said, how about dedication instead of discipline? And I like the word dedication. I'm
Mhm.
really dedicated to eating this way. I'm like, it's like a value, it's like a belief, it's like something, spiritualish in a way versus discipline, which is like a punishment and harsh and, beating myself up for it or being mean to myself kind of. But I'm really dedicated to doing this. That feels like good and happy and, empowering versus discipline that doesn't necessarily feel that way. So just making those like little word tweaks in our head, just like using
Yeah.
those modifiers can make us feel different about what we're doing. Because sometimes if I say, I got to be really disciplined, it just makes it feel harder to me than
Mhm.
whenever I say, I'm just really dedicated to eating healthy this week.
Mhm. I actually had that one written down, and I think somebody else mentioned the other word I have written down for tonight, but the
What was the other word you had written down?
I have dedication and determination, which, I mean, I think determination is a big one for me too. If you are determined to do it, if you really have that mindset that you want to do it, it will happen.
It will happen.
Mhm. If
I
you
think,
wanna go climb that mountain, you can climb the mountain if you are determined to do it.
when was the last time that you were really determined to do something and you did it?
Probably I knew this time last year that I was probably getting engaged. I knew that, and I went, "You're gonna have to go shopping. Do you want to feel fat you want to feel fat when you go shopping for the dress? Then knock it off." And I was and I just went with I had the I know I'm going back to discipline. The discipline. I'm like, and I had that.
Did you put the
You
horse
know,
blinders on and you
nope,
were just like,
and I'm like, go, nope. I'm like, no, you're not eating this right now. No, you're not. Dress, Becki. And
dress?
I had the determination. Dress. That was such an obvious one. Why didn't I? I don't. And I told you I have like one of the easiest letters, and I'm drawing a blank tonight.
I know,
Dress,
I feel so
dress.
sorry for
I
there's
would
some really
hang.
hard letters, but this is
I
not
would.
one of them.
I literally have one of my old dresses that I use as my like. If you can fit into this, this is skinny Becki. Okay, and I would hang it up in front of myself and like, that's your goal. 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 When you're walking, I would picture the dress in front of me and be like, let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Dress. Dress.
So for those people that don't know Becki or might be new to Becki is like a super stepper. So what's your highest monthly step count?
Oh man, I used to be a super stepper. Right? I'll change it a little bit.
Okay.
I feel like okay. I feel like I'm still a decent stepper, but I went for it was last April. I went for I didn't tell anybody. I think maybe a couple of people that weren't like my friends and family, like my mom maybe knew about it. I went for 20,000 steps each day for 30 days, or maybe it was no. Okay, April was 30 days. Okay, I went for 30 days doing 20,000 steps a day, and I ended up like with an average of like over. It was I want to say it was around 725,000 for the month, and I gunned it it was nuts. That was the most I've ever gotten. After
That's
that,
impressive.
something happened, and then it went to 600. Then it went back down to five. And 500 is 1,000 still a lot. That's like what I
Ooh.
think is a good average for me. That's attainable, not all the time, but since then it's dropped. I've never been able to even get I got to 600 after that once, and I think that's been it.
It was fun you did it and you're like, I don't need to do that again.
That was a lot. That
Yeah.
was I don't I know people have done the million steps. Uh, One of these days I do want to do it, but I will have to literally have every day of the month off so I can literally just do it, or I'll have to be at some job where I walk 20 miles a day or something. Um I my body was, oh god, I was hurting after that 20,000 a day. And I'm like, this is and I was, oh my god. I I don't know. So now if I can get over 500,000, it's a good month for me. So maybe I'm still a decent stepper. If you do get 500,000 each month, you end up doing you get to 6 million at the end of the year. This year I'm
Wow. Really? I
because
didn't
of
know
everything
that.
going on. Yeah. If you average 500,000 each month, you'll have 6 million, right? Did I do math right? I don't do math right, but you end up, yeah, 6 million. This year I'm
Wow.
going for a little bit less. Because even getting 10,000 a day, like I guess that's the recommended amount. I've had days where I've done like 3,000 for the day.
Yeah.
Like,
Today I'm like way under where I'm supposed
when
to
you
be. I
go
probably
from 20 down to 3, that's why I said I'm not that great of a stepper anymore because I'll have like I have a few 3,000s in there this year already, where it's like, really, like that's sad after doing 20,000.
well,
But
somebody confirmed your math is correct.
okay, good, good. 'Cause I'm not good at English
Oh, I
either.
love this. Somebody has some jeans shorts from high school that they want to get back into. Somebody else has a leather dress,
Okay,
and their goal
I
is
have
to
the
fit
skinny
into that.
jeans.
I still have okay, I've been married twice. I still have my first wedding dress, but I have no intention to get back into that. That thing was a size 4. I'd have no intention to be that small ever again. I was shocked whenever I thought it was a 6, and then it was like I was like, what is a 4? A 4? Like no intention to ever be that small ever again. I
Hmm.
would like to be an 8. An 8
My
size.
smallest was an 8, and if I'm a 10, I'm fine right now. But
Yeah. Ooh, a suede skirt and jacket. I'd love to flaunt. I love the way you say that too.
mm,
I want to flaunt it.
but you
Okay, I
have to
got
remember
distracted by the
dresses run
kids.
different too. That's ridiculous. They do run
So,
different with sizes. So if you're a 4 here, you could be a 14 with this maker. Don't ever take that to heart because you know.
well, that's true too. And then the whole size methodology, it seems like
Yeah.
it changes all the time. So,
Mhm.
determination and dedication. So, when I really think
Mhm.
about determination, it's like sometimes I use that word kind of lightly and I say that I'm determined, but I'm not really determined. Like when I think back to determination and I think back to like whenever I was a high schooler and I wanted to go to like a party or I wanted to go to a concert or something like that, like the determination that I had in order to like raise the funds in order to pay for it or the lengths of how many house chores that I would do to get ungrounded because I was like grounded all the time whenever I was in high school. Just you didn't know that about me, now you do. But
You seem like a good kid.
I did not respect the curfew.
Oh,
I was like, I didn't respect the curfew. So, but other than that, I was a pretty good kid. So I just couldn't get home on time. I was always like 15 minutes late, half an hour late, whatever.
mhm.
Uh, but doing house chores could get you ungrounded. So I would just do like so many house chores in order to get ungrounded. So, but I had a lot of determination.
Was it the dishes? I'm trying to think of a D word that relates to this right now. The dishes. I'm finally getting a couple.
But I just think about that the sheer will and determination that I had to do that. Also, there was a competition, a cheer competition whenever I was a kid that I really wanted to win. And I got this like crown and stuff. And I practiced hours and hours and hours a day. Like I was determined to win that. And I did. But like that determination, and that's, sometimes it just takes that level of determination. I don't really want to have to be determined for the rest of my life in order to maintain my weight. I like that's great if there's like a short-term goal or something like that, but this is something that I'm really looking to just make part of my natural habit, routine, my flow, my thing, just what I do. I don't want it to be something that's like, here I go, I'm really determined, I'm going to lose some weight, and then a distraction comes along. I go on vacation, I go summer break, I go Christmas holiday break, whatever it is. I get distracted, and now I have to be determined and disciplined in order to take it all off. I'm not looking for that. I'm looking for it to just be kind of like just smooth sailing. Like this
Mhm.
is the way that it just is for me. And that's, just why my directions are kind of like everyday directions and not in order to just get me to a destination. So mine are more like just directions for maintaining a house. I just think of myself as a home. I'm like just this dream home. It's a dream body. And these are the directions in order to keep that well
Mhm.
functioning. That's kind of how I look at it for me.
I think it would. I think it should come back to like your decision, like because this is my problem with weight loss. I have the determination and the dedication for a short term goal, but after that goal is reached and after that event goes, well, after what I mean, after my wedding, I don't have to fit into the dress anymore, right? So I
Mm-hmm.
think you need to have a long term reason or a long term decision of like decide that this isn't just a short term thing. It's a life, and
Mm-hmm.
you need, you know to make better decisions for your whole life, not
Because
just
you
for.
kind of want to, because you're a Disney fanatic and you're always going to want to go to
Mhm,
Disney. So you don't always want to be on this off again roller coaster.
mhm.
Well, maybe you do because you
Yeah,
just not that roller
I
coaster.
want to ride Dinosaur and Dumbo and come on, what other rides start with D? Um, I want to, ride and okay, and I do because it's Disney. They are bigger people friendly, so you can get on a lot of rides. But like a ride like Dumbo, two grown adults have a hard time fitting in that. So there is some motivation there, but you want to go there and you want to look good. You want to you spend money on that memory maker thing, and I got back from my first trip, and that was at a time where I was just shoving food in. Like when I was there, I, my addiction was full on raging, and I look back at those photos and go, look, you could have looked a lot different. So.
And you can still have a good time.
Hmm.
You can still enjoy yourself without having to enjoy everything.
Yeah.
So we talked about decision, direction, distraction, destination. So
Hmm.
the destination I think is important because, is the destination just for an event or is destination
Hmm.
life? And ultimately for me, the destination is a life. It's to live. It's to be able to go on adventures. It's to be able to, just get out of bed without creaking and all the funny, crazy things that happens. So my destination is every day. Like,
Hmm.
so as far as, the weight number, the number on the scale, yes, there is like the string number that I want. But ultimately, it's just to live a really good life. And I know that by eating healthy and being an active person and doing all these things, that's just going to help me to get there and to continue
Hmm.
to stay there. It's okay if your why changes. Your why should change. I don't think that your why is ever going to stay stagnant. I
Hmm.
think that the why should, I'm agreeing with you, but the whys change all the time. Because at one point in time, your whys might be for an event. Your why might be for, your kids. Your why might be for retirement. Your why might, there's like so many different whys, and your why is going to change over time, all the
Hmm.
time. And on Monday, your why can be different than your why on Thursday. Just saying.
Hmm. Yeah, I mean, it could change week by week. I was thinking, you brought like a lot of people do it to like live longer for their children and be there. But I mean, not that you don't want to be there when they're over 18, but there's going to be a time when they're grown and like they don't need you raising. So what's your why going to be? 20 years from there,
Grandbabies.
you need to change it.
Actually, I don't have kids, so
Yeah. Well, for Loki,
yeah, yeah, I got Loki. But yeah,
I know I think about that with my animals because I don't have like I think like you better not do anything stupid because those cats aren't going to understand if you don't they don't fur
actually,
babies.
I had a really hard time in life whenever we were going through fertility treatments, and
Mhm.
um, they failed and failed and failed. Um, it was really hard, and it was really hard to be like, oh, I'm not going to be a mom. Like, what's why anything, and it took me a few years in order to want to do anything really. So but I was able to recover from that and heal from that, and then that's whenever I became kind of like on this whole journey now. So
Hmm.
here I am. But yeah, it was like, I lost a big why, like why anything, and then I was able to get that back. So I'm very grateful for that, but it took a lot of time. So anyway,
Yeah.
now let's think about some other words because that's enough about something that's going to make Deanna cry.
No, definitely. There we
So
go.
far. That's a big one. That's here's a word,
Mhm.
difficult. That's difficult for me to
Mhm.
talk about.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, we spent our entire life savings on it, so it was fun. It was awesome, but it was difficult, and it was kind of like a little bit of a disaster. Duh.
I think we can all relate to disaster in some way, shape, or form. Like
And that's
we've
the thing,
all been a disaster on our journey where we've,
we
you
all
know,
have
we've
these
all
things, and it's okay,
not making good
that
decisions. Like,
things are a disaster
yeah.
sometimes. But eventually, we're going to start, and we're just going to start with this one, and we're going to do. We're going to start and do, and we're going to find out what is.
Mm,
Here's what Cheryl said. She said doable. We're going to start with what's doable. What's doable for me today? What can I do today in order to get me closer to my goal? And sometimes, we have to think about, just in the easiest, simplest of terms, what's doable today. And sometimes that's like very little. Sometimes it's like, well, look at me, I got out of bed today, and that's great. That's a step in the right direction. Sometimes, we ate completely on plan, and that's great. And I really want to, you know, celebrate those things when we're doing things that are, good and awesome and on plan. And they help to get us to that, dedication part, get us to that determination. Just those little small little wins, like I did it. I did it for one day. Okay, we'll wake up again tomorrow and we'll repeat. We'll do it again. Because especially, okay, so like, oh man, whenever you get like into your like sugar cravings and you start to, try and get out of it, it can be hard, and just you got to take it like that one day at a time type thing. Because
mhm,
sometimes you think, man, I'm never going to be able to quit it, right?
mhm.
Yeah. So that's my thoughts.
Yeah, I think like doable, like it's just good. I think in a general sense for a lot like of different things, because like do what you can for the day, like and know that it is doable. Maybe, like you said, getting up out of bed is, all you can do. Or maybe it's, getting 25,000 steps one day. And, if that's what you can do today, Becky, that's what you can do today. And if 3,000 is good the next day, then that's fine. If that was, you know, doable, then it was doable.
Then it was doable.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Hmm.
That's what was doable. Like today,
Hmm.
my steps weren't that doable. I had a lot of stuff,
Hmm.
and I did what was doable. It wasn't like I
Some
didn't
days.
try, but I did what was doable. So,
Hmm.
and that's the thing. Okay, if we when we go and we say, "Oh my God, what a disaster today was!" It was, just it was just just a disaster, and I'm terrible, and we get into that spiral of downwardness. It makes getting up tomorrow and trying to do everything over again harder. But if we finish the end of the day, if we look at the end of the day and we think about how delightful it was that we were able to do what we did do, then it
Hmm.
feels better and it makes it easier to do that tomorrow. But if
Hmm.
all we ever see is how disastrous everything was, it just doesn't,
Hmm.
it feels different. So I think that, the best thing that we can do is we can always just, be really proud and happy for what we did and think, okay, what can I do a little bit better tomorrow?
Hmm.
Disassociate. Oh my God, what a good word. Whew. How many points do you think that's worth on Scrabble?
That's a big word.
That's a
That's a
big
big word
word.
for me.
Thanks for coming. Oh, wow. Disassociation. Whew. So, how do we become? That's a good one. How do we become disassociated with our weight loss? Like, we just like kind of like cut ourselves off from it. We're just like, it's in some other like realm existing is the same
Mhm.
time as us, but we're on a different timeline. And somehow we can't get over to that timeline. I'm like,
I think it's telling myself that it's too hard. I just nah. That's not what I wanted. It's not working.
it's not
It's
working.
not my
Oh,
goal anymore.
it's not. Oh,
I'm gonna change my goal.
I'm
I'm
going to
gonna
change
do
my
this
goal. That's not
instead.
what I
When
want
it's done
anymore.
next.
I don't want to do that anymore. I love that one. I'm an expert at dissociation. It's not always a positive. Yeah, I don't think it's a positive. I'm like, I'm just feeling kind of
Mhm.
like anytime I've disassociated, I'm feeling like it's been kind of like a negative thing. Like,
Yeah,
yeah,
that's what that's how I would see,
yeah. And
like,
how do you get out
I
of that? I
that.
know that I have become disassociated with it, and oh
Mhm.
yeah, that's not my goal anymore. I've done that, and it's hard to think about how do you snap yourself out of it because you're like you're not being you think you're being your true authentic self, but are you, or are you just tired of the effort?
Mhm.
That's an interesting one because it's so easy whenever to disassociate from it and to just walk away. It's so easy to just walk away whenever you decide that okay, I don't really want that right now anymore.
Or maybe being like, I disassociate when I get so overwhelmed that I'm just like,
Mm. Yes. So
so.
I'm learning that a lot with myself is that whenever I get so overwhelmed, so how do I keep myself? That's one of the things I've been working on with my self care is to not let myself get to that point of overwhelm. Learning my boundaries and how to set those boundaries so that I don't get
Mhm.
overwhelmed, so that I don't do that. So much of my weight loss process is more about learning about what triggers the small quits, what triggers whenever I want to kind of give up, what leads to me not having the determination and the discipline that I want to have and the dedication, what triggers those items, and then trying to solve those things so that they don't happen as often type thing versus always just thinking about solely about whatever I'm eating. Whenever I'm eating, whatever I'm supposed to be, what's good for my diet, I'm watching my calories and I'm eating appropriately, everything goes well. But whenever these little things, these distractions happen
Mhm.
that keep me, and get me away from my discipline and my determination, so I'm trying to solve for the distractions in mind versus, always thinking about, oh my God, it's about you got to do it all the time and you suck and you've got no willpower and blah blah blah. Why am I letting these things trigger me, and what can I do to solve those triggers? So I'm
Mhm.
like kind of reverse engineering my whole entire process on the
Mhm.
whole thing.
That actually made me think about, like, when I mess up, or it's the end of the night. Why did you eat? You were good until 8 o'clock, and then you eat 400 more calories that, like, you didn't need for the day. Like,
Yeah, well,
you
why did I
didn't.
eat those calories at 8 o'clock? What was I
Mhm.
craving? What was I needing? What was I
Mhm.
wanting to do at that point in time? Was that how I relaxed? Was it to relieve
Mhm.
stress? Was it because I think, I deserve it because it was, a hard day?
Mhm.
And what can I replace with that? Because food isn't going to be the answer to whatever that need is. Was I
Mhm.
hungry at 8 o'clock, or was I just wanting to numb? Was I wanting to
Mhm.
feel differently? Was I wanting
Yeah.
a reward type situation? So,
I think I have the answer for myself. Like, like, going through, like, having this conversation right now. Like, why, like, because I know, like, even through, what, this is a D word, through my dreams. I usually, like, write down what my dreams are in the mornings, and I look up the meanings. And a lot of my dreams say you're looking to relax, you need pleasure and fun, and and at 8 o'clock at night, I have a couple extra, granola bar or whatever, because makes me feel great. You know what I mean? At the end of the day.
mhm.
So
So you
I'm
got to think
craving.
about what can you do at 8 o'clock at night
Mhm.
that's going to bring you pleasure, that's going to be,
Mhm.
that you're able to do at home, whatever that's going to bring you some pleasure. And sometimes you got to experiment with different things to figure out, what it is. And then
Mhm.
you got to figure out a few different things, just like the way that sometimes, a sweet snack is going to satisfy you. And sometimes you need a salty snack and sometimes you need something crunchy. It's the same thing, like the same, you might
Mhm.
think for some people, they like to, take a bath at night and relax. Well, a bath doesn't always relax you. Sometimes it's, listening to music. Sometimes it's reading a book. Sometimes it's reading a fiction book. And sometimes it's like reading a different type of book. So like you got to find all these different ways so that you can kind of try and soothe yourself in a different way. And that's what I'm here for, by the way.
Mhm.
That's why I wanted to talk about these, topics, because I think it's really important to think about these different things, because it's just not about the diet all the time. Because if we all know what to do, it's the
Mhm.
problem is doing it consistently. So we
Mhm.
got it. That's why I want to have these conversations. That's what, the whole
Mhm.
reason for me to have the ABCs of weight loss is so
Mhm.
that if one person has a small little aha moment like that,
Mhm.
that's what it's all about for me. It's
Mhm.
okay.
Yeah. I had a little revelation. I know that's an R word, but
Well, that's okay. We'll have you back for ours.
oh, good. That's my name too. It'd be about me. No.
Do oh wow. So anybody any other ooh, what is this? We need a NAP wink wink. I don't know. Oh,
Gotcha.
got it now. Woohoo. I'm
That
trying
can.
to rise above the disassociation. That's what I'm trying to do too. Rise above the disassociation. I love this. Okay, so we make a decision. We've got our direction that we're gonna go. We got to look out for the distractions. Think about those distractions, and you
Mhm.
revise your plans, revise your directions to account for those, so that we can get to our destination. And sometimes, we really got to be disciplined. We got to be determined. We're going to have to be dedicated, especially, if you've got a short timeline that you're looking to get through. If, sometimes, oh my God, this works out so well for some people, is that they know that they can really focus up for about 4 weeks or 6 weeks or 3 weeks. Everybody's different. So they go on, um, I don't know what to call it. Instead of they just go hardcore for that amount of time. And then they take a little break for like 3 or 4 weeks, but not like a complete break. They just go on a
Yeah.
mini break where they're just kind of like maintaining their weight. And then they'll go hard again for 3 or 4 weeks to try and lose another, 5, 6, 8 pounds. And then they'll take another break, because it's just too much whenever they're being that, you know, disciplined in what they're eating. It's a little bit too much. But if they just lighten up a little bit for a couple weeks, and then they go back to it, and then they lighten up, and then it relieves the need to do that full
Yeah.
quit.
Full.
Because
Yeah.
eventually, to maintain our weight, we've got to, find out what our maintenance level is and do our best, so that we're not always doing the yo-yo up and down. We've got to find
Yeah.
that sweet spot. So that kind of helps to go up and down, but just right at that maintenance level. Like, okay, I'm going to try and maintain for 4 weeks. Okay, now I'm going to hit it hard for 3 weeks, because I know that I can do 3 weeks. I can pay attention for 3 weeks.
Hmm.
And it
That.
might depend on schedules.
That. That was another like ding. Um, I'm so close, but I keep messing up at the very end here, and like I have 2 months until I get the alterations done. So, Lou, 4 weeks, Becky, 4 weeks. Knock your
It
crap off.
doesn't
You
stop at
can
the
go back to maintaining.
alterations.
4 weeks, and then you can maintain.
Then you have to maintain
Hmm.
till the
There
wedding
you
day.
go.
So it's going to be a whole nother fun time. All right. So those were our fun D words for today. I am so happy and excited that you all decided to join us tonight. I hope you guys had some takeaways, some aha moments. Come back and leave me a comment, because it helps the video out in the whole YouTube world. Leave me a comment which word was your favorite word and why, or if there was a word that you thought of that we didn't cover that you want us to cover the next time. That's all we have for today. Thank you again. Thank you, Becki, for being our special guest today.
You're
I think that
welcome.
you were so much fun to have on. You gave us a lot of good information, so I appreciate it very much. We'll see you guys in the next video. As always, don't forget to check out Becki's channel, y'all. If you haven't seen her
All right.
before, you should have, but she's awesome. Anyway, I'll
Thank
see you
you.
guys in the next video. As
Bye,
always,
guys.
it's an adventure. Bye. Yay. Bye.